What's going on, guys? This is Dave with 15 for Coffee, Business English for International Superstars. Are you a non-native English-speaking professional using English to advance your career, find a better job, access new markets, or take advantage of movements like nearshoring? If so, this channel is dedicated to providing you with sales strategies proven from Fortune 500 companies that you can use to apply with your English to get better results in things like interviews, job meetings, sales calls, anything that you're doing where you need to influence in a professional environment. Maybe it's a service call with upset clients. These are strategies that we used in the United States that we still use today. Even today, I guarantee you there's someone on the phone in the US closing $1 million deal using these types of strategies and these techniques. So my big promise to you is that you're going to walk away from this video with a new skill, a roadmap, or technique that you can use no matter what level your English is for a better result next time you use English in a professional environment. And I'm going to warn you guys, this isn't about memorizing a bunch of phrases and increasing your vocabulary. Most of my students already have a lot of those gifts, but they still aren't getting the results. They have a talent, but they're still not getting the results. And the reason why is because of the way that we're applying the skill. Let me show you guys something that's really important. This is how most of my students, when I talk to them, this is how they learned. They learned English at school or through travel, right? And then they kind of used it. They went to school somewhere, or they used it to watch movies, or they went on a trip. And that's really what they develop is social English. And you're like, hey, I speak English. Let me go do it at work. No problem, right? Except for when you get there, your social English doesn't work in a business environment. And that's one, because social situations are just different than business situations. Going to dinner with your friends is different than going to dinner with your boss. Just is. Especially if you have a goal to get promoted, or you want to get an interview, or you want to sell your product to this person overseas. Whatever the situation is, it's just a different situation. And so we use English for like having fun and exploring and doing things that we like, but we need something else when we go to do it in a business environment. And what we need is a strategy. So there's something missing. It's not super complicated. It's just overlooked. It's not complicated. It's just overlooked. It's a strategy. That's it. When we learn English, or English or any language, English, obviously, but even your own language, when you learn it, you don't learn how to use it. You learn how to do it. It's like you learn vocabulary, you learn phrases, you learn grammar, but no one teaches you, hey, how do I overcome an objection? Which, by the way, was last week's video. If you want to learn about how to overcome objections, check that out. Or how to deal with a difficult client, or how to impress somebody, or how to influence a group of people, how to have a presentation, how to have people like you, how to make friends. Like, it's crazy. We learn this amazing power, but we don't really learn how to apply it. So what we're going to teach you is how to apply this language, this skill you have, into a business situation so that you get business results. And you might be wondering, why am I teaching this? Well, you should check out video number 6, which goes into Ikigai, which talks about my story. But really what I noticed from talking to my friends was they have a great gift in English, but they didn't know how to use it in the situation. And I do, because I worked 17 years in finance. I'm a copywriter, so I learned all these strategies. And when I talk to all these people around the world, the only thing missing between what you have, because you have a great talent in your job, like your skill, your education, you're smart people, and you have a great talent with your English. You're very fluent, most people. You have more than you think. If you're not fluent, you have more than you think. You're doing something that most people can't do. But what happens is that there's this disconnect. And let me just show you this if you haven't seen it before. There's this disconnect. I call it the expression gap. It's the difference between your skill level in your language and your skill level in English. It doesn't transfer over, and you feel like you're less. You feel unconfident. You feel frustrated. You're like, why am I not saying the same thing? And it could be because you don't really know how to explain it, even in your own language. So how are you going to explain it in English? And again, no one taught us this, but this is what we're going to do. this is what I saw was this gap, right? It was this gap between talent, drive, but results. Something was missing between the talent and the drive and the results. And it's your strategy. So as always, we need to reframe our thinking. It's not about getting more. We don't need more talents. We need more gifts. Most of you guys have a really good gift. What we need to do is have a plan to apply it in a way that's going to help us get more leverage and get better results. So what we're going to do first, we're going to take your current level of English, so no matter where you're at, and we're going to add strategies so that you're more effective with what you have. It's not about having more. It's about being effective with what you have, okay? Today, we're going to go into rapport, and this is all based on sales strategies that people are working on right now. I guarantee you today, someone closed a deal using these types of techniques. Guarantee it. These work. It's not a question of does it work. It's a question of are you going to do it, okay? Rapport. What is rapport? Rapport is like a mini relationship with somebody. It's like being able to feel connected to someone you really don't know by finding common ground, by really being able to connect with them in a way, in a really quick way. And that's why we call this 15 for coffee, because sometimes we only have 15 minutes, right? We don't have a long time to make an impression. So we want to make it count. We want to be effective, and we want to make an impression that people remember and people feel inspired and they feel collaborative and they feel like they're in a solution state of mind when they're around you and they feel heard. So before we get into rapport, let's talk about these three, your superpowers: empathy, curiosity, great questions. Tony Robbins is a very famous motivational speaker. He says, successful people are successful because they ask better questions and therefore get better answers. They ask better questions and therefore get better answers. So going into the meeting prep, this is meeting, which one was this? Number 4. Video number 4. If you haven't seen this is a great one to help you get prepared to create rapport, to get you in the right framework mentally to create rapport. You want to have empathy. You want to be curious about somebody. Because if you're not really empathetic or curious, let's just be honest, it's bullshit. You don't really care. You're just trying to get something for yourself. So let's get into it. Let's give you a roadmap for rapport. Again, guys, huge opportunity right now speaking English. Everything's digital. Everything's online. People are shopping online. People are looking for your solutions online. Go online. And if you go online and you speak only one language, only 5% at most is going to see your message. If you can speak English, you go to 57%, right? That's way more exposure just by using another language and English. So we're going to use this. You already probably know this. You have this vision. That's why you're here. I'm so glad you're here. If you like this channel, if this is you, if I'm talking directly to you and you're like, yes, I have a great talent, gift, I have a great gift. I have a talent. I have English. I'm going to use that. Let's go. And then you go do it and you're like, yikes, I don't like this. I'm not as good as I am in my own language, but there's so much more opportunity. I'm going to do it. If that's you and you want to get through that, all this information is made specifically for you. And I love giving it to you because I love coaching and I know it's high impact information, more so for you than it is for, let's say, someone I used to work with. They already know this. Or someone else in the States that I grew up with. They don't really care. Like they're not out trying to make a difference in their lives using English, using a second language. You are. You see a much bigger opportunity. You have a much more potential. I want you to outsell a native speaker because most of them don't know this stuff. They don't know. The native speakers don't know. The native English speakers don't know this. If you can master this and dominate this, you can outperform them in the job interviews. You can outperform them. Okay, rapport. Again, empathy, curiosity. I want to be genuinely empathetic and curious about someone else. It's important. And I think that's what's really lacking, especially from someone coming from the United States. I just feel like there's a huge lack of empathy, and I just think people don't even bother to really understand other people anymore or where they're coming from, because we all want the same things. We all like the same things. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that too much. Rapport. Start the conversation. Bring the energy. It's not about the words you say. It's not about having this awesome first sentence. It's just, hey, how are you? What's going on with you today? How's your day going? What do you think about this event so far? What's your favorite part about it? What would you change? Anyway, starting the conversation, have an energetic hello, shake the hand, give them your name. My name's Dave. How are you doing? It's so good to meet you. If you're meeting a client, let's use that as an example today. Hey, how are you? I'm so glad to meet you today. How was your trip over here? Oh, did you find everything okay? Can I get you something? Hey, have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. Start the conversation, set the tone, right? Next step, ask really good questions. Start asking questions. Back to meeting prep, video 4, how to get prepared. And then next week, we're going to go over how to ask great questions that inspire and motivate. So if you haven't yet, subscribe and hit the alert button so you're notified for that video, so that every week you are getting more skills to get better at your conversations, to get better at your interactions, your interviews, the meeting with the boss, the meeting with your client, the meeting with your coworkers, the presentation you have to lead. Whatever it is, every week you're going to get something that's going to strengthen you, and it's going to make you a tougher, stronger, more valuable, more likable person that's going to help you get better professional results, better jobs, higher pays. They say that English speakers make up to 30% more on average. If you can use English in a professional environment, in Mexico Forbes says that you can make up to 4 times more, 3.9 times more if you can dominate in English. That's huge. Okay, next week, asking questions. But you want to ask good questions around the rapport. One of my favorite things is to figure out a way to ask about their personal life in a way that ties into their professional life so that I hear their story. Because when people share their story, well, one is people love to talk about themselves. So if I can ask a question that gets them talking, I'm going to learn so much. I'm going to learn so much about who they are. It's going to be sick, because I'm going to use that information to then provide value to them. And if you haven't seen the value proposition video, that's video number 2. Check that out. That's a superpower. It's awesome. I'm going to ask them questions. I want to find common ground. I want to find something in common with somebody. Maybe it's something we did, an activity. Maybe it's something we like. Maybe it's something we don't like. We can bond over things we don't like. People do it all the time, right? Just have fun. That's not on here, but have fun. Have a good time. Go through this strategy. Play it out in your head. Have a role play with a partner, with a coworker, with a friend, a family member. Play this out in your head. How do you have good rapport? If you're nervous about your next meeting, go back to the meeting prep video, number 4. Watch that. I think it's 15 minutes. Practice this. Go through this process with somebody. Find common ground. Find something you guys both like. My buddy Jace, he taught me this. Add to their bucket. I love this. It's like you want to add to people. You don't want to be taking. You don't want to be the person that walks around taking from everybody. Me. No. See people. People that feel ignored, people that feel like maybe they're having a bad day. Have a genuine interest in who they are and what they're going through, and I guarantee you're going to make an impact on them if it's genuine and you ask good questions. It might be awkward. Maybe it's awkward at first. You'll get better at it. But if you just really care about them and you really care about learning, you're going to find ways to build rapport and create the relationship. And I talk about this a lot. Sometimes it takes a long time to get to know people, and it's not because people are super closed off. It's because it takes a certain amount of interactions to get there. And if your interactions are too spaced out and you don't have a connection, or you don't have a significant interaction when you do, it is going to take longer. But if I can have a more significant interaction with someone and go deeper with them, even in one meeting, I can make a bigger impact and have a deeper relationship with that person than I could with someone else that I've known for a year or 2 years, all because of the way I build rapport with them. by the way I ask questions, by the way I'm genuinely curious, by the way I'm empathizing with their situations, with their goals, with their fears, what their story is. I want to make sure that they feel heard. Then they're going to give me everything I need back. And they're going to be like, hey, I really liked talking to this person. When you're finishing up rapport, be like, thanks. You know what? I asked you some interesting questions and I know we just met. And, I appreciate you sharing that with me because you didn't have to. And it takes a lot of guts to do that. Appeal to their better senses, appeal to their better perspective of who they are. Help them live up to the vision they have of themselves. Be thankful for them. Say thanks. If you can do these steps, you're going to make an impact with somebody. So rapport, start the conversation, start the vibe. You have the energy. Ask some good questions. Have questions ready. Don't go in there and be like, I didn't know what to say. You knew you were going to be there. It's business. It's not a social situation. It's a business situation. Go in there ready. Find common ground. Find something you guys both like. Add to their bucket. Make sure they feel special. Make sure they feel heard. Maybe pick the person in the room if you're at a networking event and go talk to the person that looks like they're having a bad day with the shut off body language, with the shut off attitude. Go be like, hey, how are you? Maybe that's the person you need to talk to. Maybe that's the one that they need you the most. And be thankful for the interaction. You do all these things, I guarantee people are going to remember meeting you. They're going to have a smile on their face when you leave. And they're going to have a smile on their face next time you see them. So if you like the video, hit the subscribe button, hit the alert button. Next week, we're going to be talking about, what are we doing next week? Interview prep, how to get ready for interviews. So if you're out there and you are nervous about your interview and it's in English and English is your second language, but maybe it's for your dream job and you're like, okay, I have an interview. This next week, the video is all yours. We're going to go through how to interview, how to get ready, how to nail the interview, and how to outperform native speaking English professionals so that you are in the top of the book. You are on the top of the job list for the next hire, and you're going to hear that your hired phone conversation. So if you like the video, hit subscribe. My name's Dave. And remember, you are an international superstar. You have what it takes, and I believe in you. All you need is to change a little bit. You have all these skills and all these talents. We just need to line it up, give you the strategy so that you get the results you know you deserve. All right, I'll talk to you next week. Bye.